They heard the call when they rolled it on the wall. For you and me, we understood. The busy world was not for me, so I went and found my own.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I've been physically abused in the ear.
Steely Dan's the greatest band of all time.
Yeah, sure.
Steely Dan is the greatest band of all time.
Okay, Steely Dan is very good. But that's not why we're here today, okay? Alec, why don't you tell the audience why we are here today? Because I always do the openings. So everyone, we're gonna workshop this. Alec's gonna do the opening. And here we go.
Scene one, Apple, take one.
Welcome back, guys. I'm an idiot. I'm a fuckwit. Good to see you again. Tonight, I'm going to talk about something I have no idea about. And we'll see you then.
Yeah, no, I like the way this fucking drop that.
So today, guys, we're going to be talking about Electronic Entertainment Expo.
Okay.
Obviously, everyone knows a big consumer expo that's held in Los Angeles every year. Now, there are several very large gaming conventions held during the calendar year
but
in different regions. You've got Gamescom in Germany, TGS in Japan, and then you've got E3. And of them all, E3 is the big ticket.
It's the one where they drop most of the biggest announcements.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's across the 24 year history. Or even longer. I mean, 24 years is how long PlayStation's been there.
Yeah.
But consoles are announced there. Biggest sequels are announced at
Knack
E3.
2 was announced there, man. So it's a big place.
Here comes the money.
Did someone say
Here comes the money.
So Sony has announced now that they are not going to be there after 24 years, okay? And of course it was a big shock, and this is the statement that they put out. As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for innovative opportunities to engage the community. PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with the new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 in 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you.
So there you have it. Now it is Sony's turn to bow out of E3, following the footsteps of Nintendo back in 2013.
Yep.
EA now have their separate EA Play.
Exactly.
Xbox, even Microsoft, they host their own event outside of the main convention center.
Exactly. So I feel like it's definitely a trend that's going on, and I wonder if... Put my hand there for a second.
There, you can put your arm around me, man.
Why not, man? Bradley Love right there. I wonder if it's going to be, a trend moving forward. You're right. We did see Nintendo. Now they still have a booth at E3. They all still have booths at E3, but they do their thing on the internet.
Yeah.
And then Xbox has their own campus. We were there actually at E3 this year. And EA does their own thing too. It's still in LA, but it looks like it's happening more and more. PlayStation has jumped on here, but for me, I wonder why they want to be skipping a presentation altogether. Now,
I think they can just control it better. And they control when they want to deliver the message.
That's
now, they
true.
may not have news ready for E3 next year.
It's definitely a deadline.
Or they
isn't
may
it?
have news beforehand that they want to drop. Okay, so the theory runs that PlayStation have the PS5 in development, obviously in development, but very far along in development, up to the point that they're looking at making announcements fairly soon. Everyone, pundits and all the commentators, speak of a 2020 release for the PS5. They may be gearing up to make their own hardware announcement. That's number one.
Yeah, I think
they
so.
could very well be planning their own events and say, hey, this is our new machine, these are all our games, and you want to come to our event to do it. You know, sort of like what they did with what Xbox did with the Xbox One, Sony did it with the PS4. They hold their own events.
Yeah, I think you're
because
right.
I think
yeah.
Just to finish on that point, I think when there's news within E3, obviously it's a huge amount of interest in that 1 week of June, but there's just E3, when I read E3 news, it's just such a shitstorm.
There's so much
There's
going
so much to keep
on.
track of.
There's so much
and so
going
even
on.
with a new hardware announcement, it's just shit everywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
Look,
think by taking the stage and doing it on their own, it allows them to deliver their message in a much more controlled way.
I think so, and I think that, there is a deadline with E3. Like, if you haven't got your shit together before E3, then of course, you're not going to be, packing the punch that your company wants. So for them to have their own time, exactly right. It really does free up that opportunity to kind of do, what they want with that. But I think also with the fact that there might not be a lot of IP that they want to be showing, that also is, a potential problem.
They've shown most of what we know is in the works.
I can only think of 4 really strong titles that have been shown. Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding. I was wondering if that's an exclusive. Is that an exclusive?
it's an exclusive.
It is an exclusive. I knew it. Just testing you guys. And then, of course, there's Last of Us 2 and something else. Something else. But it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of IP
So
at the moment.
I think if they were just to go into E3 next year and show all the games in more detail that we already know, it'd be pretty lackluster.
But that,
Sony just came off the back of
you're
what
assuming,
was...
You're assuming that they wouldn't show anything more. I mean, of course.
No,
they
I'm
could
not. I'm just saying they show more of the same games. But if I already know those games that are coming out, it would make for a fairly lackluster presentation. It's just, all the games I already know are coming. Thanks for showing me more.
Again.
Sony want the big showstoppers. They want the here's how you use the share your used games. They want that. And off the back of last year's E3, this year's E3, which was okay. I don't think that they want to be, doing that again. They want to go with a showstopper. And if they don't have the content to show at E3 next year, then they're probably sensible for holding their cards close to the chest.
I hear what you're saying, but all I'm saying is that there could be very much a lot of stuff that could be in the works that we don't know of yet. You're making it sound like there's only these 4 big games. There might be more games that they would like to reveal. But anyway, I understand what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Last word.
But look, most of Sony's studios are tangled up. I mean, Santa Monica are already working on God of War 2.
Which also could be announced.
Yeah, Sucker Punch are working on Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, most of their first-party studios are already working on projects. So I don't know if there's much more they can show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look, I think it's more centralized around the fact that they are going to be doing hardware next year.
And I think that, is this going to be a trend that continues that they all pull out of E3 and it just becomes a consumer event with booths and they all have external areas that they like to show it, be it on the internet or be it just actual stadiums that they want to show their content. I think we might see more and more of that because they did open their doors to consumers E3 last year. Last year or the year before? I think it was
the year before.
It was the year before.
That's when it was a shitstorm.
Yeah, okay. And then, now it seems like it is becoming more and more of a consumer event also. Are we going to see in 3 years that it's just a consumer event, just booths, everyone can play new games, and at the same time, a lot of these companies are showing more of their content. Who knows? But it is it's huge to see PlayStation,
And I wonder how it's going to affect E3 in the long term.
Yeah.
I mean, now you've basically got none of the large hardware manufacturers have a presence at E3, like a real presence.
Yeah.
Well,
they will have presence because they'll have gigantic booths. Like
Sony's not doing their booth.
Yeah, that's true.
That was in the report. So Sony's not even going to have a booth. They're literally skipping E3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with them, that'll be a massive, massive hole in the floor that they'll fill. But you'll feel that, when those big players are there, when you've got your Nintendos and your Microsofts and your Sonys. I mean, we just got back from PAX, which is way smaller than E3.
Yeah.
But as soon as you walk in that room and you see these massive publishers basically just flopping their dick out and saying, this is all the shit that we've got, you're like, this is impressive.
Yeah. It does take a huge portion of that room up. It really does. The 3 consoles take, a huge amount of energy also in that space, because you walk in, there's so much shit going on, there's so much money that they've thrown at it. It really does make E3, a lot better. So it is interesting to see that if they're going to be back next year on the floor, and if they're going to do their presentation the year after, and secondly, if other companies are going to do the same thing, are they going to pull out at E3? We'll have to see, but very, very important news for everyone to know.
They're pulling out their big dicks.
They're pulling out the big dicks, everyone. Okay, Alec wouldn't know that feeling. So, guys, thank you so much. Love you, appreciate it. Don't forget, we've got Thick Boy and Thick Girl merch in the merch store. Link in the description. Love you, appreciate you, and I will see you next time. Young out.
I recall when I was small,
I was spending my days alone.
the busy world was not for me, so I went and found my own. I would climb the garden wall with a candle in my hand. I'd hide inside the walls of rock and sand.